Hello guys and welcome to the FPL Duo. So this is it guys, FPL is almost back now. There's just one more day until we finally see, obviously the first game of the season, Man United versus Fulham at 8 o'clock UK time. But it is very nice obviously to return back to Premier League after a very long break from it. It's been quite refreshing. Just so you guys know, Huss is a 50-50 on if he's able to obviously join the stream or not. Obviously, he is going to be married very soon, so he is quite busy at the moment with his life commitments towards that. So if you can, guys, wish him obviously the best because it is this weekend that he is getting married. So yeah, hopefully he is able to join us in the stream at some point. But if not, obviously he will be back very soon. So there might be a few streams where it might just be me streaming this fantasy football content. But regardless, there's always going to be one or the other here, obviously doing these streams. So don't worry, guys. The FPL content is yet to come. So yeah, this is the first, obviously, video for Team Selection Game Week 1. It has been a while since we last streamed. So again, apologies, guys. We haven't forgotten about you. Obviously, we have been busy, but we are here to obviously kick it off again. I am very excited for this season. There's been a lot of exciting transfers and record ones as well. But yeah, we're here obviously to see obviously what my team has on offer. Before obviously we get into this video, guys, make sure you obviously join our mini league. The mini league code is down in the banner down below, just below me, and it's also in the description as well. But make sure you give this video a like, comment if you wish, and subscribe for more. Right, let's get to it then. So in terms of this team selection, obviously at the moment it is currently blank on the screen. I am sort of mixing it up this time. Instead of obviously revealing the whole team, I'll break it down each position from midfield, defense, and forward, and obviously working way through the team like that. So there's a bit more element of surprise for obviously you guys watching. So to begin with, let's start off with my goalkeeper and defensive picks. So starting off with the goalkeeper pick, I've gone with Flecken, who has Crystal Palace at home for his Game Week 1 fixture. There's more to it, obviously, for picking Flecken. It does have to do with my other goalkeeper as well. So I'll obviously get into more detail once I finally reveal the bench after I've revealed obviously the starting 11. But Flecken is my choice of goalkeeper at 4.5 million. And a very interesting fixture. Obviously, Crystal Palace, they looked really good at the end of last season. So Brentford, not so much. So we have to see what the opening game has to offer. Moving on to the defender picks that I've gone with. So the first one that I've decided to go with is Pedro Porro, who has Leicester away. So my idea of picking these defenders, just off the top of my head, is to go for the ones that I think will most likely have a clean sheet or an attack and return. And I was quite impressed with Pedro Porro's obviously pre-season obviously performances. He did score a few goals here and there. Spurs probably didn't keep enough clean sheets in their free friendlies, but I do like Pedro Porro's attack and threat, which he did show last season quite a lot. So he is my first defender pick. And I think Leicester away, obviously Leicester's the newly promoted team, obviously from the Championship, now coming into the Premier League back again. So it will be a very, I think, interesting one, especially with Spurs playing away. I do want to see if their defense is still leaky or not, but I think Pedro Porro is a good pick to start off, obviously, your team with. Moving on to the next defender I've gone with. So that is Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool, who's got Ipswich away. Again, obviously now that Klopp's left, and obviously the new appointed manager, I've also liked Liverpool in their pre-match performances. They've been pretty good. It doesn't seem to have affected them much that obviously Klopp has left and the new manager has taken its place. They look quite refreshed and revigorated, I think, for this starting season. So I did want to go with Trent, but he was a bit out of my price range, so I have opted instead for Virgil van Dijk. instead. And obviously, again, another newly promoted team. I do expect a clean sheet for Liverpool, even though it's an away fixture, which is a little bit more tougher for them. But I wouldn't pass it. No offense, obviously, Ipswich, that Liverpool get a clean sheet out of that. Moving on to the last defender pick for the back three, and that is Dan Burn, who has Southampton at home. Now, with obviously Dan Burn, I have heard that maybe he is not the first choice pick. Obviously, there's obviously more to go with that. I'm not quite sure. All I've heard is rumours that Dan Burn might not be the ultimate starting pick that I would want for Newcastle. Although he's cheap at 4.5 million, I believe. So if he is to start against Southampton at home, then that's going to be good for me, especially with Southampton at home. Again, I am targeting the newly promoted teams in this defence, and as much as I am trying to keep it cheap as well, because there is a lot of expenses when I do reveal the midfield picks. But yeah, for now, that is the back three picks that I've gone with in terms of my defence. So moving on to the more interesting part of the team selection, so the midfield picks. I have gone with obviously the midfield five, starting with Saka, who has Wolves at home. Now, I did want to include at least one Arsenal asset in this team, and even though Kai Havertz looked a bit more appealing, but obviously his position changed. Now he's a forward, has made it more interesting now in terms of the Arsenal midfields, because you could go for Trossard, Martinelli, if you dare go there, because obviously Trossard and Martinelli do rotate. Martinelli did have a drop off last season as well, and Trossard looked a bit more appealing in that Arsenal midfield. Or there's also Odegaard, if you wanted to go for a downgrade Saka to a cheaper option, because obviously Saka is very expensive premium now. But Arsenal have a good fixture, I think, at home, obviously against Wolves. I think that is a potential clean sheet right there. If you do have Gabriel or Ben White or Saliba in that team, I think an Arsenal defender is good to go with as well. It's a bit out of my price range and what I wanted to go for my team, but I did want to include one Arsenal attacker in that midfield. So that, by me, is Saka. Moving on to the next midfielder, that is Eze, who obviously got Brentford away. So he does play against Flecken, which you might find is a bit of a clash there. Eze is an interesting one because I believe he's on penalty kicks for Crystal Palace, which gives him a little edge and bonus on top of his performances for Crystal Palace. And I think at the end of the last season, Crystal Palace had a very good surge with their new appointed manager too. And they seem to have been on a very good run of good form. And that included obviously Eze getting lots of double hauls near the end of the season. So he is my one only Crystal Palace asset I've gone with, and bit of a differential, if you want to say it, even though I believe he is over 10% ownership, but he's not going to be in everyone's eyes, I don't think, in Gameweek 1. So moving on to the next player, that is Diogo Jota, who has Ipswich away. So he's the second Liverpool asset I've gone with. Now, obviously, there is talks for Luis Diaz potentially maybe leaving Liverpool, who knows? But I do know there is talks about him maybe potentially going to another club, but that is still in the motion. But I've gone with Diogo Jota for now. I think if Luis Diaz does leave Liverpool, potentially goes to another club, that does mean Jota is pretty good in that midfield in terms of picks. Because obviously they have Ipswich as well, I do expect a high scoring game for Liverpool. They want to start off strong and get the goals, end the game early as possible. So hopefully Diogo Jota is part of the action towards that game. I do expect anyone on that pitch, I think, in terms of Liverpool assets, I think anyone is worthy of that Gameweek 1 fixture. So I'm going to take a punt on, obviously, Diogo Jota for that. And obviously on to his teammate, Mo Salah, obviously the main man for Liverpool. I think he is going to be very highly owned come Gameweek 1. Potential captaincy worthy pick as well. As you can see, he is my current vice pick. So you're probably all wondering who I've actually captained instead of him. But again, yeah, Mo Salah on penalties, good form, and he's sticking with Liverpool. So I think that's good for all Liverpool fans out there that obviously is sticking with them for the current moment for this season. So not a very exciting option because a lot of people are going to go for that pick. But I think for me, it's got to be Salah, especially with that fixture against Ipswich. It's a must-have. And finally, to complete the midfield five, we have Anthony Gordon for Newcastle, who has Southampton at home. So he's my second asset alongside Dan Burn going forward into game week 1. And again, I do see a lot of assists coming from Gordon, especially with obviously the front forwards, Isaac / Wilson, providing them with balls up front. And yeah, I do think he's a good quality pick at the price as well, very reasonable. I believe he is 7.5. I'll just double check that he obviously is that price because there has been a lot of price changes. Yes, he is 7.5, 28.6 ownership as well. So he is a bit of a popular pick amongst other FPL managers, but he's definitely been in my eyes in terms of starting in the game week 1. So that is my midfield 5 picks. So that all only leaves now my 2 forwards that I've decided to go for. So here is the moment of truth, guys. Here are my 2 forward picks that I've decided to go for game week 1. So the first one is Isaac. So it's triple Newcastle, and obviously Isaac has Southampton at home. He's also my captaincy pick as well. I mean, I'm very impressed with his obviously his pre-match performances. I think he has been on fire, Isaac, and I think he's going to go guns blazing against Southampton, especially being a home fixture as well for Newcastle. I do think I see at least 1 goal coming from Isaac, if not more. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores 2, maybe 3, pushing it, depending on how well Newcastle get off on the front foot. But we normally see in first game week 1 performances a lot of high scoring fixtures, especially against newly promoted teams. And I do think Newcastle will put a few behind Southampton. Hopefully that does come from Isaac. And you might be surprised, guys, this is a non-Haaland draft as well. So yeah, I have one without him. It's so expensive, obviously, for Haaland in this team to fit in the rest of the players around him. And I do think 50 million is a bit of a stretch. You can get 2 players with this same amount of quality as Haaland over just him being 1 player overall, even though he's had a breakthrough first season in the Premier League with a little bit downfall in the second season. But yeah, it's a non-Haaland draft. And finally, to complete the starting 11, it is Solanke, who has Leicester away. So record signing for Spurs for signing Solanke. I think that's a huge signing for them, especially with the combination of Maddison, Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski in that attack. Spurs' attack looks very tasty now, especially with that nice addition of Solanke, who's got Leicester away in his first game week. So I think he's going to pop off as well. I thought he did really well against Bournemouth, really well with Bournemouth. So huge loss for them, I think, to lose their main man, Solanke. But I think he potentially will have a great season, hopefully, fingers crossed, with Spurs. So that is the starting 11, guys. Obviously, let me know what you think of it. And obviously, before I reveal my bench, I will take a few of your comments to see how you guys are doing. So first comment of this stream, we got one from Colm. It says, hi, Jordan. It says, hi, obviously, Colm. Hope you're doing very well. And we got a comment from Joseph, who obviously says, hi, Jordan, as well. So, hi, Joseph. Hope you're doing well too. And we've got a comment from Mr. T. He says, I've also gone double Liverpool with Diaz and Jota. Also Wood for Forest. I think assets here are under the radar. Absolutely, I agree. I think also Chris Wood going to be the main striker for Nottingham Forest too. So he could be a possible good third forward if you do have the going with a front 3. Absolutely agree with that. And yeah, no Haaland. Yes, this is a no Haaland draft. Believe it or not, guys. I just think, and this is my honest opinion, if Haaland scores 2 or 3 goals each game week, then I think he's worthy of being in the team. I just think at 15 million, I won't expect any less than that. I expect 2 or 3 goals from Haaland every game week to have him in a team at 50 million. It just soaks up so much of the budget at being at 50 million. That is a lot of money going into one player, and you could have 2 almost equally amount of good form players in combination with Haaland, and that is kind of what I've gone with at the moment. But we'll have to see, obviously, through the season how obviously that develops. We've got a comment from Dan the Man. Says, "Welcome back, Jordan. I have the exact same 5 midfield." Oh, very good, Dan. Hopefully that midfield 5 does rocket in game week 1. And yeah, thanks. Obviously, welcome back to you as well. Very good contributor to the stream. And we've got a comment from Kwando. Says, "Hi, good team without Haaland. Mine is without Salah." So yeah, there is a lot of variation. That's what's going to make this season very exciting. There's going to be a lot of us without Salah, or without Haaland, or who else could be, or without Saka. So or Palmer or Watkins. There's going to be 1 or 2 players you won't have in that team. You do have to compensate somewhere in that midfield or forward line. So yeah, it is going to be a very exciting season, and how it plans out will depend on, obviously, if we get our captain picks right with our premiums, and if we have the right premiums in our team, and obviously what our transfer plans are each game week. Comment from Trigger Tree says, "Hello again. Do we know if Pope definitely starts the season?" I'm not sure, Trigger Tree's on that. Don't know if Pope definitely will start this season. It's a bit unsure because obviously from his long-term injury, it's hard to tell whether Dubravka keeps his place or not over Pope. But yeah, we have to see game week 1. Obviously, that will determine who is the starting goalkeeper for Newcastle. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. Tricky Trees who, if Pope will definitely start the season. And a question from Mr. T says, "How are you feeling about United's chances this year?" I'm not sure really, because I was delighted to see Bruno Fernandes sign, obviously, his new contract with Man United. That's very obviously good news. We also just signed Delete for Man United as well, so that's another big signing. And yeah, I'm quite intrigued about Man United's chances this season. I'm looking very positive, more positive than last season, I think. Hopefully they have a better season, obviously, than previous. But the Community Shield game against Man City, I thought they played really well. I was positive about their performance, even though they lost. And yeah, I think overall, I think Man United will improve this season. Fingers crossed. Comment from Jenny Berry says, "Hi, Jordan. Thoughts on Cole Palmer?" Yeah, Cole Palmer's an interesting one again. I am without him too. As much as he was a great addition to obviously last season, scoring those bangers, obviously a lot from penalties, but also some from open play. And yeah, he's also signed another contract for Chelsea too. But yeah, it's just hard to fit him in. I could swap Saka for Palmer, but then I'll be without Saka. So there has to be some compensation somewhere for obviously these players. But I think Cole Palmer's a great addition to Game Week 1. Although he does have Man City, so it's going to be a tough fixture. I don't think I'd keep him or have him for Game Week 1 at least. I think I'll hold off until obviously his fixture improves. Comment from Carl says, "No Haaland here as well. This 3rd season running, I've gone without him." That is very bold. No Haaland for the 3rd season running. That is incredible to go without Haaland for that many seasons, especially the first one he had. It was very, very groundbreaking in terms of Premier League. But yeah, no Haaland as well for me too, Cole. So we have to see how that works out. Mr. T obviously says, "Eze to City, could that hinder his performances with the potential news?" I actually haven't heard of potential news about Eze, but if that case, yes, it could hinder his performances. It could not. But Eze is one of those spots where I could switch out another player for another midfielder around his price bracket. So, yeah, I have to see, obviously, with Eze. But I do like the fact he's on penalties. So, if obviously Crystal Palace do win a penalty, he is the one to take it. Colm says, I'm looking at probably bringing in Haaland around game week 6/7. Yeah, that is when basically, obviously, Man City's fixtures do improve a lot more. It could become a little bit more easier, viable. It is a bit of a tough start at the beginning of the season for Man City. So, yeah, maybe bring in Haaland, depending on how he does as well. I think that's a good wait and see bracket. See how he does in the first 5 game weeks. If he isn't really up to his current form or what the form he saw last season, then yeah, potentially bringing Haaland in might be a way to go. But obviously, we have to wait and see how he kicks off this season, because he does have Chelsea, which is a tough game, I think, for Man City, and unpredictable one too of what that result will be. Trick Tree says, surely the transfer budget is 150 million if you have Haaland and captain him. Yeah, if only. That 50 million does it does put that it's basically 2 players in one for that price of 50 million, and yeah, you pretty much will have to captain him every game week to make that worthwhile, because if you go against Haaland in your team for at least one game week, then you're pretty much better off not having him in your team, because if you're not going to captain him at 50 million, then yeah, that's what I think. I think it's just, if you have to captain Haaland every game week if you have him in your team at 50 million, otherwise there's no viable option to have him in your team for that money. Joseph, you can't yet come to a decision on Salah and Pedro, or Saka and Solanke keep changing. Yeah, it's ever changing for me as well. The team you see on the screen, possibly that might not be obviously the team I go with come the die stream tomorrow. So you have to wait and see for that, guys. Tune in for that to see if obviously my team has changed or not. But yeah, it is a bit of chop and changing around. It all depends on transfers as well, because Solanke, that record deal with Spurs, that changed our team slightly, because I did have Watkins there instead of Solanke. So yeah, it's ever changing, but we are coming closer to the deadline, and we do have to make these decisions very quickly before obviously the season kicks off. But hopefully, Joseph, you do come, I would say follow your gut in your choices, because I think that helped me last season in terms of player picks. Jenny says, hi, Jordan. Do you think De Bruyne will start for City? Yeah, I think De Bruyne will start for City. I think he would want to start strong, because I believe Foden won't start in game week 1 or 2, possibly missing both. So that does give a bit more positivity that De Bruyne will start for City, especially Chelsea as well. It's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be an easy one for Man City off the bounce. Possibly see them winning, but I think De Bruyne could be a key part of that for game week 1. And the final comment, before I move on to my team bench, is from Neil. Says, good luck this season. Yes, thank you, Neil. Nice to see you in the chat as well as all you other guys. Thank you for all your comments so far, and obviously thank you for still watching this stream. So yeah, all through the comments now. So let me just reveal what my bench options are in my team. And obviously you see how much money I spent on this team and how much obviously is in the bank. So yeah, it is 100 million team value. So I've spent every little penny on this team. 3-5-2 formation. And obviously on the bench, we have obviously the other goalkeeper for Brentford. Hope I pronounced this right, but Voldy Marson. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. But there is a reason why I've gone with 2 Brentford goalkeepers. This is actually pretty popular, I think, for a lot of FPL managers, but it is undecided who's going to be the main starter for Brentford in terms of goalkeepers. It could be Baldy Marson, or it could be Flecken. So I think a lot of us are hoping it is the cheaper 4 million Baldy Marson, but we have to wait and see, obviously, on that. And if he is, then it's nice because you can have a 4 million goalkeeper and possibly downgrade Flecken to a non-playing 4 million goalkeeper, or just have another 4.5 million in place for Flecken who has a better fixture. But that's who I'm going with for my second pick, goalkeeper. Moving on, we've got Muniz, who was one of my favourites to watch last season as a differential. I think obviously he's Fulham's active forward currently, but I have liked the way he played last season. I think not because of this fixture, but it's because of Game Week 2 and 3 is why I've decided to bring obviously Muniz into my team, because in Game Week 2 he has Leicester, and then in Game Week 3 he has Ipswich. So he has back-to-back newly promoted teams, and I think he can make the most out of those 2 game weeks. So that is why he's on the bench, obviously for Game Week 1, because he does have Man United away. A tougher fixture, and it's not sure what kind of form Man United will be in, but judging from the Community Shield game, I do think it's going to be a tough game for Fulham, especially when they're playing at Old Trafford too. So hopefully Muniz doesn't score or get any attack returns in that opening game week. Next player obviously is teammate in defence. That is Robertson. Obviously same fixture. Again, I do like Robertson as a pick, as a cheap defender. It's different as well. Not many people have picked him either. And again, it's for those 2 games in Game Week 2 and 3. Newly promoted teams, Ipswich and Leicester. Possible 2 clean sheets right there. So I think I make the most of it by having Robertson already in my team, so I could swap him out for another defender who has a tougher fixture during those game weeks. And finally, the last pick as a defender is Davies, who obviously from Ipswich. He got many assists from obviously his championship run season, so it's hard to say how he would cope. Obviously in the Premier League now, different ball game, but he is cheap, and if he does show attacking returns in terms of assists as well in the Premier League, it could be an exciting pick, especially at obviously 4.5 million, 2% ownership. Obviously he has a bad run of matches with Liverpool being the opening fixture. That is why obviously he's on the bench, but when his fixtures get a little bit easy, he could be an ultimate pick to go for in terms of differential defenders, if he does show and provide attacking return as well. I do believe we saw a little bit from that from another newly promoted team last season from Luton, and that was Doughty. So I'm hoping we see similar performances from Davies as well for Ipswich. But obviously we have to wait and see on that. But that is the team, guys. That is the starting 11 on the screen, and that is the bench that I've gone with currently. So I think in terms of all that, that is pretty much all there is for this stream. But obviously, before I wrap the stream up, make sure you give this video a like, guys. Comment if you wish, and subscribe for more. And thank you for those who have obviously subscribed and followed us through this journey so far for the FPL Duo. We always appreciate your support so far. So thank you, guys, for that. But I think we will, obviously, I will wrap up this stream. Hopefully, Huss, he will tweet out, obviously, his team on Twitter. Obviously, you guys won't be able to see it today. But, yeah, I will be back tomorrow, obviously, for the deadline stream, which I believe, let me just check the time of it so I don't forget. And that is obviously 5:30. So there will be another stream tomorrow, guys, at 5:30, an hour before the deadline is over. I will be streaming live my team, so make sure you tune in for that stream as well. But thank you, guys, for watching. Obviously, it's always appreciated. And until next time, guys, take care and see you tomorrow for the deadline stream.